Welcome to the post-game wrap-up show here on PoconosNow.org. Matt Catrillo here with you, along with the birthday boy, Dan Hilton, here on PoconosNow.org as the Snow suffered their fifth straight loss on the season, dropped to 2-5 on the year after a 3-0 defeat at the hands of Clarkstown. So, Dan, as we start off here, first of all, happy birthday from all of us here at the Pocono Snow. Another tough loss for the Snow, which they were hanging in with 0-0 going into the 65th minute, and all of a sudden, Blarty Bardick gets it going for Clarkstown with a goal in the 65th minute on a nice low shot on the far post, and then 81st minute, Joseph Connolly gets the goal to make it 2-0, and then Bardick again at the 90th minute with a terrific goal right outside the 18, blasted it right past the Snow goalkeeper. So, tough one here tonight for the Snow. What were your thoughts on, especially offensively, just 14-4 shots on goal? So the offense, as we all know, is the big Achilles here for the Snow, kind of went down a little bit.
Well, first off, talking about the defense, there has to be some credit, even though it was a 3-0 loss. As we talked to head coach Jerry Sheska, 3-0 is not indicative of how the Snow defended the entire game. Jacob Gottwald in that first half kept him in it, and Blarty Bardick, he was threatening. Where's the number 9? Either in the air, on the ground. He was threatening that net all of the first half, and in the second he was finally able to break through. Of course, when you allow 14 shots on goal, some are bound to get in, and you look at what Clarkstown was doing all game, in all actuality, on set pieces, in open play. They were getting the chances, and they finally broke through. On the other side, for the offense for the Pocono Snow, they did have some trouble. It seemed like tonight Roshane Ellison was pinned up alone up top. Now, Jordan Ellison came back into the midfield, was giving him a little bit of service, but tonight it seemed that the Snow, in particular, those three attackers up top in Andre McDonald on one side, and on the other side, of course, we had Shasri Spencer and Roshane Ellison. All three just seemed to be making runs at different times and not really getting the possession in that final third that you would like to see to make sure you're getting quality shots.
And some of those quality shots, one of them came off the foot of Roshane Ellison at the 55th minute as he got a shot 20 yards out just wide of the net, and then Austin Bogart had the other one at the 57th minute, 2 minutes later, 22 yards out, was just wide, and it was actually well defended too by the goalkeeper. And for Clarkstown, and then Snow had another big chance at the 35th minute, and that was an unbelievable save. So really the last 5 games, we're really starting to see a lot of bad luck going towards the Snow, and of course if you're going to win in this league and in this division in particular, so tough, you definitely need the ball to go your way a few times, and it's just not happening for the Snow right now.
Those two saves, as we spoke about, the shot by Ellison and the shot just a few moments later by Bogart in a minute stretch, those were two that you would have been called Galazzos if they had hit the top right corner. Almost an identical shot from about 25, 30 feet out. And if those had gone in, this would have been an entirely different game, would have given the Snow an early lead in that second half. But instead, Andrew Tartara, he might have been the player of the game, if not for Blarty Bardick on offense. But Andrew Tartara for Clarkstown was the player of the game for them in net. Time and time again, every time the Snow could even sniff net, Tartara was either strong in the air on set pieces. Something in particular, the Snow seemed to be able to have some confidence in, as their open field offense didn't have much confidence today. But on set pieces, they were threatening. They were trying to look for Malik Krishik in the air, and even when they found him, Tartara was up to the task, and on those two saves, just the tip of the fingertips was all he needed to be able to get those out of net.
Let's talk about the psyche of this team a little bit, Dan. Obviously, 5-game losing streak after a nice start to the year, a 2-0. This team was looking good, as we mentioned, a lot of new faces. This team looked like to have another good amount of talent on this roster. And even Coach Sheska, as you can check out here on PoconosNow.org, said after the game, that this team, there's guys are still playing hard. The guys were right there putting in some good efforts. But, things really, as I mentioned before, just aren't going their way. So where do you think the Snow, as far as, their psyche and mental preparation, especially facing Hershey on Saturday, can go from here?
Well, I think, honestly, you saw there was some frustration in that second half, especially late when the goals started pouring in. But I think for 65, 70 minutes of this contest, this was a very composed team that was dealing with the offensive frustrations. But again, they weren't getting down on themselves. They just kept trying to fix things. And in the second half, they started to reap the benefits of being patient. They started to get those looks on net. So I think, again, with the last 10, 15 minutes notwithstanding, the Pocono Snow played with confidence. Unlike the game last Saturday against the Sonic, the offense didn't break down when things started to get nasty. So I think even though they are on a 5-game winning streak, you see some of the form that they had in their first 2 wins of the season. So I don't think it's time to hit the panic button just yet. Now, a loss to Clarkstown is big, but on Saturday you have Hershey, which isn't an entirely confident team. It's one of the teams just above them in the standings. So if you can take down Hershey, they played well against Bucksmont. They have them next Wednesday on the road. And then you finish with Binghamton, Hershey, and Lone Star. So for that 2 games against Hershey, Lone Star was the best win in franchise history, the 3-0 win just a few weeks ago. So I think for the schedule for the Pocono Snow, for the remainder of it, they can play with the confidence they had in the first 70 minutes of this one, and they should be able to take that confidence and maybe get a result against Hershey this coming Saturday.
These next 2 games, this 2-game road trip, to me, is going to determine where the season goes, Dan, because as you mentioned, you have Hershey, who's just above them. It's a beatable team, I think, for the Snow this year. And then you have next Wednesday at Bucksmont again. Not only did they play well against them, play well enough to beat them, but they still have that revenge factor in the mind, considering what happened towards the end of the game. You know, whether you blame it on the referees or not, even though we didn't think that, it wasn't that great of a call. But nonetheless, they still have to bounce back from it. So I think these 2, if the Snow can find a way to at least get points out of these last 2 games, 2 wins would obviously be the best way to go. Then you go into some momentum going in against Binghamton, which of course is going to be a tough game. But it is here at home, where the Snow, of course, have played well at home again to starting off the year 2-0 at home, including the Junior Lone Star win. Then you have Hershey coming back here the game after. So to me, this 2 to 4 game stretch, especially these 2 games here coming up on the road, I think are really going to determine the season now for the Snow.
Well, the offense, I think, is still figuring out the identity, and again, we're just over halfway done with the season, but this is an offense that has struggled at times, but in the same respect, they've had more confidence they've had in years past. So I think at any moment, this is an offense, especially with the power and technical ability of players like O'Shane Rose, Roshane Ellison, Shastri Spencer. Those are players that can go one-on-one, can take a shot, can score a goal, kind of do all of it on their own. And so for this offense, against these teams, especially on the road, sometimes that one-on-one technical ability is going to be a little more important. And for the Snow especially, we saw it some tonight. The best they were is when they were able to defend and then they were able to break out on the counter, including set pieces, getting some free kicks late in the contest. That's actually what kept them in it up until about the 75th minute when the 81st minute when the second goal was scored. But for them, getting on the counter, getting out, using those big bodies, using the physical play up top, that's going to be the key to that offense, being able to go out on the road and get the 3 points. And
even when you come back here and host Binghamton after this 2-game homestand, they have proven that they can hang with some of the big boys of this division, such as the Sonic last Saturday. They hung with them until they finally broke down and let a goal in I think it was the 85th minute of that game. So they can play against those teams. They just got to find a way just to put a ball in the back of the net. So I think, again, this 4 to 5 game stretch here to finish off the year obviously is going to determine where the Snow finish off this season. So, Dan, as we look towards this 2-game road trip, it's going to be a tough one here for the Snow tonight as they fall 3-0 to Clarkstown here at Eiler Martin Stadium. Again, the next time the Snow come back home is against Binghamton. That is Saturday, June 21st at 7 o'clock. Make sure you come out and support your Pocono Snow. And be sure to check out this post-game show and our interview with head coach Jerry Sheska after the game right here on PoconoSnow.org. For Dan Hill and Spike Rogan, our videographer, and the rest of us here at Eiler Martin Stadium, I'm Matt Catrillo. Have a great night, Snow fans.